Welcome to the Yarn Barn in downtown Lawrence, Kansas. This store has been in business for 52 years and it is like none we have ever seen. There is yarn for knitting, yarn for weaving, there's even a ton of yarn in the basement. You are not going to believe it. Let's head inside.
I'm Deja. I work at the Yarn Barn. I've been here for about a year, and I'm here on the floor. So I answer phones, I help pack orders. I will help people come in if they need help with projects or answering questions, any of that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of just all sizes kind of person at the store. I'm going to give you a tour of the store and some of the yarns that we have. So first, newer one for us, this one's called Mancha Lopis. So it is from Spain, this one, and it's really cool because it uses sheep that are usually bred for using, for milk and cheese, things like that. So it comes in these cool wheels, and they are, it's an unspun yarn, so you can use it either single or double. And we've got a little sample here. This is the Miles shirt jacket, and it was made using Mancha Lopis. It's really light and very, very, very warm. So Mancha Lopis, we've got a lot of our bulky weight yarns here. We've got some Mecca by Malabrigo, so a really popular favorite of everyone's. We do have a bulky weight cotton. It's a cotton acrylic blend that's here. Then we've got some DK weight things over here as well. More Malabrigo. We've got some blends, superwash things. Here we've got some fingering weight yarns, but they're a little special. We've got some brushed alpaca down here and the alpaca and tencel mariquita, which is very pretty with its kind of like subtle hand dyeing situation going on there. We've got Nature Spun by Brown Sheep. Really great yarn. It's 100% wool and works up with really good stitch definition. So also another favorite. So more in the middle of the store, we've got more DK sport weight things, but here is the worsted wall. So we've got lots of worsted weight yarn. We've got some tweeds. We've got more Malabrigo worsted up here, and Malabrigo Rios. This is also a new one that we have. It's called Jewel Spun. It's an Aran weight yarn that is 100% acrylic, but has really nice color changing properties in this one. In addition to Rios and the Malabrigo worsted, we also have Cascade 220 Superwash. It's a great, just kind of like multi-purpose all-around worsted weight yarn. It's superwash, so it's really friendly for folks if you're making gifts. So we've got some, also this is worsted weight. It's called Tall Grass, and this is by the Threadhead. She's a local dyer. So it's a nice, what is this? I think like 800 yards, 535 yards of yarn in these bad boys. So you can do a lot of work with those. More Brown Sheep. This is Nature Spun Worsted, one of my favorites. It's a worsted weight yarn, but it also is 100% wool, just similar to the Nature Spun Sport. So we've got that. We've got Sesame, which is a really cool, very fun yarn that does some color changing as well. So this is a shawl that was knit using the sesame. And a very popular yarn. This one's called Encore. So it is a 75% acrylic, 25% superwash wool. Very, very, very good for beginners or blankets, people who need kind of like a lot of bang for your buck. This is where you go. It's a really nice yarn, but still very affordable. So here we've kind of got our kind of like Cotton Cove. So it's a lot of plant-based things here. We've got lots of cottons, linens, tons of stuff. So of course, we've got to have Malabrigo. So Malabrigo is representing with like a DK weight cotton here called Verano. This one is a cool one. It's called Vivo. Vivo. So this one is 100% cotton, great for towels. And it gives you really cool striping effects. So this was a woven sample, but using Vivo, you get some cool color going on. All in one. You don't have to change any colors here. We've got Bamboo Pop over here, Fantasy Natural, and the, oh my goodness, Zauberball cotton. So this one's cool because it changes color and is also still a cotton fingering weight yarn. This one is kind of a new shop favorite for us. It's called Coast, and it's from Holst Garn. So we offer these in small skeins. They're about 300, almost 400 yards in these little guys. It's a light fingering weight yarn, but it can be used single or double. And it's cotton and wool blend. Makes really good lightweight items that are still warm, but they're also machine washable. So it's really nice, and it comes in a ton of colors. So this is Mandy Slub. This is from Ridiculous. She's a smaller dyer. Really love her. You've got a couple of her bases. And this one is a really cool slubby yarn. It weaves up pretty nice and knits and crochets into really, really pretty things. Her colors are gorgeous. So that's Ridiculous. So this is another one from Ridiculous. This is her Addie Minis. So they're small little skeins of yarn that are really good for color work or like doing things with socks, stuff like that. It's a superwash yarn, and she dyes these by hand. And we've got tons and tons and tons of colors from her, and they're all very, very pretty. It's another one from Ridiculous. This is her mohair and silk. It's a lace weight. It's really, really pretty. Works up really well with her other yarns or holding along with another yarn, holding it on its own. This is another one from Ridiculous. It's the Cozy Bulky. It's a superwash merino and works up really nice, big stitches. So it's good to get some nice color in with something that's not going to take you forever to do. This is our local dyer section. We've got some yarns by 316. So she's out of Wichita, Kansas, which is about 2.5 hours away from us. We have carried the house fingering and the Luxe Yak and the tweed fingering for a while. Beautiful colors. We've got some new colors in from her as well. But a new one we started carrying from her is the DK. And this has been a really good one. I have gotten 2 of these to start off with, making a hat with one of them, and it's wonderful. It's squishy and round, and it's a great yarn. And as you see, her colors are amazing and gorgeous. Then we have the Threadhead here. So she's out of Lenexa, Kansas, which is about half an hour from us, so not as far. Here we've got the Mini Boomer. So this is merino and bamboo. There's 1,140 yards of yarn in each of these hanks. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful yarn. These a lot of times are one-offs, so she dyes them for us and brings them, and we have them here for folks to pick up. You can make tons of stuff out of these, tops, you know, really anything you can think of, you got it here. Shawls, it'd be great. She also has this is called Be Fabulous. So it's a BFL and silk blend. Then she's got Sunlight, which is really fun because it's a superwash merino yarn with a little bit of nylon in it, fingering weight. And it also has some stellina, but it's not scratchy. So a lot of times sparkly yarns can be a little bit scratchy. This one's not. It's really, really soft and wonderful. And then she has the Decades yarn here. This one is 100% organic cotton, and it's themed within like decades of music. So the 80s, it's called Girls Just Want to Have Fun. We've got Uptown Funk, stuff like that. So she's also one of our favorite local dyers.
So I'm Bethany, and in addition to lots of knitting yarns, we also do a lot of weaving. That's one of the big things here. So we have looms and yarns, and I can show you some of them. One of our most popular ones is 8-2 cotton, which is like a medium weight, medium thickness cotton yarn. It's in these little tubes here. So we have lots of kits and patterns that we put together and make here, and that is featured pretty regularly there. So, and another cotton yarn that is pretty new to us, we actually are having this dyed and produced for us, like Yarn Barn is. So as you can see, we are working on getting it in. However, these are the colors we have now. It's called Ad Astra by Yarn Barn, and we based a lot of it on the colors, you know, the Midwest, the prairie, things like that. These delightful colors right here, this is rug wool. So we have a couple different brands of rug wool. Quebecois is from Canada, and then Halcyon, and they're a little bit different thicknesses. We use them again in a lot of, like this rug here on the floor. It was made out of Halcyon. That's another one of our kits that we put together here at the store. This one is called Zigzag. It's 100% rayon. The colors in it are really variegated and really great. You can do things like make this fantastic scarf with just one skein of yarn. So this one is also really popular. So these are some of the towel patterns that we've developed that I was talking about that use most, I believe, of these are cotton. This one is a cotton linen blend. So this is organic cotton. So yeah, there's lots and lots of different options and patterns and colors and wonderful magical things. This loom right here is what's called a table loom. Even though it's sitting on the floor, it's just on a stand. So if you come around this side, this is like the front of it. So you can raise and lower different huddles here, which is how you weave. And then one of our more popular ones is this. It's called a rigid huddle loom. So it's a little bit simpler. You can raise and lower. The huddles are all right here. So this one is pretty popular for people just getting into weaving if they want to see if they like it or not. And you can do, it has some flexibility, but you can't make like super, super fine, luxurious garments maybe on this one, but it's super fun for placemats and towels and even scarves. This is Shack's Baby Wolf loom. It's one of our most popular looms. We use it a lot for the classes that we do here for weaving. Right now we're setting it up, so it is somewhat of a disaster, but it's okay. It's part of the process. We're getting a new rug all warped up and ready to go. This is another Shacked loom. This is a Shacked standard. It's a little bit larger. And then we also have Louette looms. This is a David and a Spring, and then a giant one, which looks really cool. This is a Glamacra. It's a countermarch loom. So we also have a lot of spinning wheels, and pretty much they all do the same thing as, like, you know, turn wool into yarn. But each one is a little bit different in the way it works. Some of them have two treadles and look a little more modern maybe. Some of them look very much like, you know, the old-fashioned Sleeping Beauty spinning wheel fairy tale version. So there's pretty much something for everybody. If you want it portable, foldable, make thin yarn, art yarn, got it all.
I'm Susan Bateman, and this is our classroom, our new classroom upstairs above the store. Love the space. We have a lot of daylight that comes in the windows that are one whole wall of the class space. And so we love it up here because there's plenty of room to move around. Most of the classes that we have up here are weaving and spinning because it takes a lot of space. But we also even have some water up here, which we don't have downstairs. And so now we're looking forward to maybe doing some dye workshops or something as well.
I'm Jim Bateman from the Yarn Barn of Kansas, here in Lawrence, Kansas.
And we are downstairs in the basement, and you have a lot of yarn down here.
We do have a lot of yarn. We have so much yarn down here that we keep a ledger on the door that tells us where to go, which row to go in, which room to go in, so we can find what we're looking for.
So down here is where you keep things that you're stocking on your website, right?
Stock on the website, and just customer comes in the store, hey, I need 10 skeins of this. We've got 4 on the shelf upstairs. Come down here and get more.
Amazing. Can you kind of walk us around and kind of tell us like the different areas you have?
This area through here is all knitting yarns. We keep knitting yarns in these boxes. They're tidy. Each box has a color or sometimes 2 colors so that we know exactly where it is and can find it efficiently. The far wall over here in this room is some of the weaving yarn. The majority of the weaving yarns go out mail order, and fewer of them compared to knitting yarns go out in the store. So it makes sense to have the knitting yarns close to the stairs here, because someone from upstairs gets their exercise, comes down and runs it right back up for the customer. Down in this basement also is where we receive the yarns, come down the freight elevator, and get checked in and assigned to the computer and then put away. Back here we just have some backstock of books, as well as the beginnings of the weaving yarns. We have cotylins, pearl cottons from around the United States, around the world. We've got a lot of yarn from Canada in here. And we have a lot of yarn as well now that we're getting from Denmark.
Cool.
Back here, still more weaving yarn. The next interesting thing is this room full of equipment back here.
And the x-ray room.
And the x-ray room, that's right, where the chiropractor used to keep his x-rayed people.
You didn't keep the x-ray machines?
We did not keep the x-ray machine. Some of the yarns, these are all boxes, the majority of those are full of yarn also.
Wow.
There's, if it looks like a yacht, it's a lot, because we have about 10 tons of inventory in here.
So once somebody places an order, what's the process? Like, where does the yarn come from? Where does it go?
Yeah, so when somebody places an order, and typically our orders come either from our online store, or you can actually call and speak with a real person. It's going to be one of us. Call our 800 line and place an order that way. So once that gets placed, all of the pick tickets or the orders, we take a stack of them and we take them out onto the floor where folks like Deja or Caitlin or Bethany, they then go and pull the merchandise. And most of the time, the merchandise is coming from our overstock area down in the basement, because we have a lot of inventory down there. And then we also have, just our inventory out on the floor as well. So, we try to be very diligent about making sure, like, if you're ordering several skeins of knitting yarn in one color, we'll check to make sure that we're sending you the correct dye lots, all matching lots and things like that.
Awesome.
And so then we pull what's on the order, and then they all go in these very, very fancy,
So like a cafeteria tray kind of thing?
These trays literally came from an old cafeteria.
That's so cool.
Yes. Many years ago, there used to be a store in downtown Lawrence called Everything But Ice. And they sold everything but ice. You could buy anything from old mattresses to just secondhand junk, but it was also just a great kind of thrift store area. And I'm not really sure why they had this, but this was just this rolling rack. And they asked, I don't remember how it transpired, but we got it from them. And it was perfect because we had these cafeteria trays and they just roll, just sheer weight and gravity. Yeah, so it can be a little loud.
I think Jim said y'all ship anywhere from like 60 to 100 packages a day.
That sounds about right. And then once we, start heading into, October, November, that number increases. I mean, some days it's an enormous number of orders.
I'm Susan Bateman, and I started the store a long time ago and was able to pick up a partner on the way.
She waited till 1987 to do it, but that's when we did it. And I've been in the store since that time. My jobs here are much different than Susan's. Susan is part of the creative drive, the teaching for sure, both product and color selection within products of what we buy, and advertising. I'm the organizer. I try to stay out of the public eye. I see that we have product on the shelves, and that we even pay our suppliers.
Well, I started when I was in college. I changed majors. I'm sure everybody has done that. And had to take some art classes because I was leaning towards the possibility of doing occupational therapy. And in OT, you have to do certain things. And one of the classes that we had to take was a weaving class. And it was just amazing. This is it. This is what I have to do. So I changed majors and went into fine arts, never having had an art class in my life, and got a degree in textile design and weaving. So I felt obligated that since I had kind of done something unusual in the middle of my college education, that I needed to utilize that because my parents paid for my education. So that's why I opened the store up, is that we had to always order our materials that we needed. Many times it was even from overseas. And so I thought we should have a store that would start carrying that. Named the store Yarn Barn, like a lot of historical things. And actually in the very first store, I put in stalls. Yeah, built stalls that people had to walk in and see the different yarns in the different stalls. So it was truly a yarn barn. Cool. And even did natural dyes. I was the natural dyer at a well-known in our area, Silver Dollar City, was their natural dyer during their festival times for several years. And I used a tripod and an iron kettle, and there I was outside doing the natural dyes. So all of that was kind of the precursor to doing what we're doing now. The store grew and grew and grew over that time. And actually, when Jim came along, I was really overwhelmed. It was much bigger than what one person could really handle. And it was just great having somebody coming in to give part of the need of making a business good. In the meantime, though, we do believe strongly in education. And so we have lots of classes. We're fortunate we have a lot of teachers here in the area that are qualified, and even some from the Kent City area come over and teach. And now that we have our beautiful new space, which you will see later, our beautiful new space, now we feel like we can invite nationally recognized teachers to come in. So we're having different teachers coming in, both for knitting or crocheting or weaving or spinning, and just try to keep it going.
That's so awesome.
This is our third location in downtown Lawrence, Kansas. And the first location I was in kind of the lower rent area because I was starting out. And then we moved up to this street block of the main street in downtown Lawrence. And we were located 3 stores down. Then we got our softball team to help us move it in 2 days.
From there to here.
From there to this location. And so we've been here since 1997. So in this particular location. And we still were growing. We were still growing and growing. And so as some of the other tenants here left in this building that we're in, we were able to capture either additional storage space or Even last year, this wonderful classroom space that we now have is the newest addition. I think we're through.
Yes.
No more expanding.
No more expanding.
And the softball team's all retired, so we have no one left to help us move. We have hobbies. We have a farm. We have farmland north of town.
Really?
And we have a 5-acre pond, so we'll go fish. And we picked 200 pounds of pears this last month. Do you like pears?
Yes. We'll give you some on the way out.
That's so cool. Do you do that? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's
We've both
amazing.
been active in downtown businesses over the many, many years. Susan was on the Convention and Visitor Bureau for a time here, and we've both been on the Downtown Lawrence Board, which is a collection of retailers, an official organization, businesses downtown. I don't know, between the two of us, we've probably done that a combined 15 years at least.
Well, the majority, I mean, we have beginning classes. Beginning classes are so important because you're not only continuing the craft, but you're also making your own customers. That's part of the reason that we're still here, is that we have do have a following. So we have a lot of beginning classes, but we also want to continue educating the people so that they've got more. Knitting and crocheting, lots of those, and the weaving and spinning, those are all both very important to us. I'm a weaver, so that's my forte, but it's quite interesting when we just today sent out this fall's class schedule, and I think a few of the classes are already filled. Wow. So people look forward to it. It becomes both a social event as well as an educational event. And like I mentioned earlier, is that we do have a nice spectrum of instructors to be able to teach.
I think we teach more students in knitting classes than in weaving or spinning classes.
I do.
Hers is bigger at home.
You have like multiple looms at home?
I do not.
Okay.
I've been a good girl. No, I have one that weaves a 50-inch weaving width. So it's big so that you can do larger projects and so forth. I don't use it very often because we're always down here and we're always doing stuff down here. So actually, that is a bad thing that I'm not doing as much there, but some year.
Any fiber hobbies?
I can spin.
Really?
He
And
teaches.
Saturday I helped with the spinning class here. I can answer that for Susan because she does the majority of that work. It's changed over the years. 10 years ago, at least, maybe 5 years ago, we were doing a large print catalog. There was a well-known printer here in town, and we did a 96-page, I think, color catalog that we would send nationwide to people who'd asked for it. And that for years, pre-computer website things, was the way to spread the word about ourselves. That and our going to consumer shows around the country and regionally for sure was a way to get ourselves out there to the public. And now we still do a flyer for weaving. We haven't done a full catalog for a couple of years. And then we do a lot of online work. The website people know about, Facebook, Instagram, other related social things, and we have a very large email list that we've accumulated over the years.
Right. If people are interested in getting our emails, which are some are promotional, some are just informational, some of them might be a sale event or an activity event, but we don't inundate people with emails. We are firm believers that one a week might be enough, but definitely not more than that. But you have to sign up. you have to actually go to our website and click on the email verification, and then you can select which ones you want to get information on, be it knitting and crochet, weaving, spinning, dyeing, felting, whatever other things that are listed, classes, or just simply in-store events. We can specifically separate you out and get you on the right list. The only thing would be that we're the behind the scene people, more or less. I mean, we're still very public. We're still on the phones, etc., and doing things. But our employees are incredible.
Yeah.
And we're very lucky to have. We have 3 people that we have in our mail order area that are outstanding, and they are the ones that you're going to hear their voices first. They're the voice of the yarn barn. And then our in-store employees.
4 of them.
Yeah, we have 4 of them, and they're when you come through the door, you get to interact with them. They're wonderful. They're very knowledgeable. It's such a pleasure. And then we also have another person that's behind the scenes, and her name is Jen. She has to receive all of this stuff that we get. She has to find a place for it. She has to organize it. She has to unpack it. She has to check it off that we did really order that, so check it off the invoice. So she's quite the lady as well.